Welcome to Artmobile, Bucks County Community College's traveling art museum. Artmobile's latest exhibition, Marvelous Machines, explores contemporary kinetic sculpture through the lens of the 6 simple machines. Inside, our Artmobile educator will guide you to learn about the machines and the art. After this video, you can discover more about the exhibit and create art projects by visiting Artmobile's website, bucks.edu/artmobile. For now, let's go inside and take a look.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Artmobile. Today we're going to be looking at artwork from our latest exhibition titled Marvelous Machines. In this exhibition, we will be looking at how artists are using their knowledge of science, technology, engineering, and math to innovate and create their art. We'll also be learning about the 6 simple machines, and we'll be able to see how the artists are using the 6 simple machines in their artwork, and we'll be able to see how these 6 simple machines can be powerful building blocks of innovation and artistic expression. Some of the machines might look familiar to you, and some of them may surprise or confuse you, and some of the machines might even make you laugh. So before we get started on looking at the art, let's start with a lesson on the 6 simple machines. Simple machines are devices with few or no moving parts. They're very common in our everyday world, and engineers use simple machines to be able to solve challenges. Hopefully by the end of this lesson, you'll be able to recognize the simple machines that the artists are using in their artworks, as well as be able to go around your house and find some simple machines. And when you have 2 or more simple machines put together, you have a compound machine. So let's take a look at what the 6 simple machines are. So a good way to remember this is the clever lever. And a lever moves around a pivot point to increase or decrease the mechanical advantage. So you can find a lever in a playground seesaw or in a wagon jack. The next simple machine is a wedge. And a wedge is a device that forces things apart. A good way to remember this is you have to get the wedge edge. Examples of a wedge are a zipper or an axe. The next simple machine is a pulley. So you want to pull that pulley, and a pulley will change direction of force. Examples of a pulley are a flagpole, elevator, and if you've ever been on a rock climbing wall before, rock climbing gear. Next, we have a ramp or an inclined plane, and a ramp will raise an object by moving it up a slope. So examples of a ramp are a doorstop is a ramp, as well as stairs or a playground slide. Next, we have a wheel and axle. So a wheel and axle is used to reduce friction, and it's actually one of the oldest simple machines. Wheel and axle can be found dating back 5,000 years, and we'll see a wheel and axle in cars as well as bicycles and scooters. Lastly, we have the simple screw. A screw is actually a device that can lift or hold things together. So it's often a fastener. Here in this example, it's pretty easy to see. It's a screw, jar lids, and as well as bolts. Those are other examples of screws. So once we have an understanding of the 6 simple machines, we should be able to identify them in the artwork and see how artists are using the simple machines in very creative and imaginative ways to be able to make sculptures that move. So join me as we look at some of our next examples of the 6 simple machines in the form of artifacts. In this segment, we're going to be looking at historical artifacts that are on loan to the Artmobile from the Mercer Museum in Doylestown. The Mercer Museum is part of the Bucks County Historical Society, and it is a collection of Henry Mercer's tools. Henry Mercer was an archaeologist and an anthropologist who dedicated his life to collecting tools. And we're very lucky to have some examples of tools from his collection here. They serve as really great examples of the 6 simple machines, and they can really give us an idea of how the 6 simple machines make life and make work easier for us. So let's take a look. First, we have a horse-powered treadmill model. This is from 1921. Prior to the use of steam and petroleum for power, the 3 sources of power were wind, water, and animals. So what we have here is a treadmill. The horse would be led on the treadmill. The weight of the horse would cause the treadmill to roll backward because it's an inclined plane, and that would force the horse to walk. The treadmill is connected to gears as well as a wheel, and that would start to turn, which would power up a thresher, which is on the inside of the model. And so the farmer would be able to have his wheat ground up, and the horse would be able to get some exercise. So the simple machines that we have here are an inclined plane as well as a wheel. Next, we have 3 artifacts also on loan to us courtesy of the Mercer Museum. We have a screw clamp over here, and we have 2 screws, which when they turn will put the 2 wood pieces closer together. We also have a hatchet, which is a wedge. Remember, we want to get the wedge edge, so that makes cutting wood easier. And down here, this artifact might be a little tricky. It's a keyhole plate door latch. And what's really neat about this piece is that Henry Mercer bought it from Osborne's Antique Store in Philadelphia in 1916. So even in 1916, this door plate latch was an antique. Can any of you guess what simple machines are being used here? This one is a little tricky. It's actually a wheel and axle. And we also have a wagon jack. This wagon jack is a historical example of a lever. And as we mentioned before, it's the clever lever, and it helps to lift objects, which would be much harder for you to lift on your own. Lastly, the pulley block. So this pulley block may have been used in the construction of Henry Mercer's concrete castle, and it's also a really great example of a pulley. So that concludes our historical artifact lesson from the Artmobile today. Now it's time for us to start looking at the artworks.